You are about to partake in a DEADBUG podcast. But remember, you scallywags, my content ain't for the faint of heart. And it certainly isn't for children. So if you are ready to proceed, I would ask of you one thing. That is, to dim the lights, shut that pleasure-giving mouth of yours up, smoke 'em if you got 'em, and enjoy. Lust. Something we all experience at one point in our lives. A feeling of being out of control, needing something so bad, we are no longer in control of our common sense. Addictive, often fleeting. A selfish emotion that can lead to shame and regret. It was a wise man who once said that lust has no horns. But make no mistake, lust is the devil. And that was Words to Live by your friend and mine, Ed Kemper. Either a certified psychopath or a scholar. Who can say? Who can say? And this is a brand new series called Lust Crimes, as my aforementioned meanderings have suggested. And I am your host, DEADBUG. Oh,
DEADBUG says to my friends.
And I got a treat for everyone because for this series, I got myself a co-host. And a pretty tasty one at that, and her name is Jasmin St. Clair. Jasmin without the E. How are you, Jasmin?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
Well, things are decidedly looking up. They're decidedly looking up. And you know, I don't know where to start when I'm reading out your bio for everyone. You're a former porn actress. You've done slasher films, flicks like Bad Apple, Communication Breakdown, National Lampoon's Dorm Days 2. You were a professional wrestler. You hosted the Metal Scene TV show. You're a podcaster, an author. You're currently working with JCW, and you've even been on the Howard Stern show. And how cool is that? And now you're here with DEADBUG. And I don't mind saying that you're someone that I'm hoping at some point to have sexual relations with. So is there anything that I missed out here, Jasmin?
Let's see. Oh, thank you very much for the compliments, by the way.
The pleasure was mine.
I love heavy metal. I've done a lot of heavy metal interviews over the years. I think I was practically breastfed on metal.
Jeez, breastfed. Nice.
And I love working at JCW Wrestling. I also have my own weekly podcast, Crazy Train podcast, and then I do my live streams on Mondays because I just like talking to people. And I think that's why I really enjoy doing the metal interviews because I got to meet my idols, but at the same time, I don't know, I got to learn about them and hang out with fellow metalheads.
And that's where our backgrounds are very similar because I myself have worked with a lot of heavy metal bands over the years, and I also love heavy metal, and I know a lot of my listeners do as well. And I'm going to leave a link in the description because you are excellent at it. And, you know, of all these things I talked about, I forgot the most important thing is that you are passionate about your true crime.
Oh, I love true crime. I love watching it. I love hearing about it. I was so amazed to find out that you worked on Dateline. I still rewatch Dateline, but anything to do with true crime, I'm on it. And by the way, I am the biggest fan of the Swiss Miss Murder.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, is one of my podcasts where a model, a very good-looking girl, got blended up by her husband.
Yeah, I like the story a lot.
Okay.
Like, not what happened to her, and then...
I bet you taste good blended up, Jasmin. Jasmin, what is it with women and true crime? I mean, I know that a lot of men like it, obviously, but I've rarely come across a woman who in some form or another doesn't enjoy true crime. You know, and the gorier, the better.
I feel as though it's the mystique of everything, like with the whodunits. And when it comes to true crime, sometimes there are elements of the crime that people can relate to. So let's say we go back to Star 80, Dorothy Stratton. She was with that suitcase pimp. What was her boyfriend? And I've seen so many of those in my time.
You're referring to Paul Snider.
So I could relate to guys like that. I mean, I've dated guys like that a long time ago, obviously.
Well, he was known around town as the Kike Casanova. No, I'm serious. He was a Jew, and that's how they I don't know whether it was derogatory or not, but that's what they called him. I mean, he identified himself as a club promoter, but he was just a general hustler. And he was 9 years older than Dorothy when he met the 17-year-old. She was working in a fast food at Dairy Queen, I think.
Yeah, and a suitcase pimp, by the way, is just someone who lives off of the girl. So let's say let's say it's a yucky looking guy and he wants to get into porn, obviously for the same reasons all guys do, to get laid by women. You use the girl as your way in, but you make the decisions for her. You take the money from her. And he was just another version of a suitcase pimp. He made money off of this poor girl. I think with true crime, like I said, just with women, there's always an element that we could somehow relate to. And these are also everyday people that you meet. You know, you don't know if your next door neighbor is the murderer.
And that right there is a key point, because I don't know how many times I've read that or seen it in a documentary where someone has said they didn't look like they were your typical killer or a serial killer. They just looked like, you know, the guy next door.
When I used to visit the Museum of Death in Hollywood, now that I think about it, it was mostly women that would go there. And it was a really fascinating place. Did you ever go to Museum of Death in Hollywood?
No, I've never even heard of it, but, you know, I'm not a woman, so.
It was amazing, but I feel as though these girls' pheromones were getting to a much higher level when they're reading about how much gore and blood was left at a crime scene. And maybe there's some weird correlation. I have no idea. Personally, I'm afraid of ghosts, and I get very squeamish around blood.
Really? Which is ironic since,
Yes.
you know, since, I mean, now you're into wrestling, which, you know, there's blood everywhere in that as well occasionally, certainly in JCW. But I mean, you know, true crime, it's like, it certainly seems the women are drawn to it like a moth to a flame.
And maybe it's a psychological aspect as well, where we want to see what's wrong with the person, why they could have done this, what made someone act like this, stuff like that. You know, I met O.J. Simpson years later, like after the alleged murder.
Wow, that is certainly my personal favorite true crime case. What was that like?
He was cool, actually. I went partying with him and his girlfriend and a bunch of other people on his boat. His girlfriend then looked like Nicole Simpson, but a much younger version. I wasn't doing drugs with them or anything because I was never into that, but I was just hanging out and like observing everything.
And that was during his well-documented lost years where he'd been found guilty in the civil case of the murder of Ron Goldman and Nicole Simpson. And he just didn't care anymore. He was a social pariah, and he was just hanging out with porn actresses. He was just doing drugs and partying, and I think he even made like a rap video or something.
Yeah, it was on a boat, and he had some slimy guy that looked like one of the Berenstain Bears that was trying to hang out with me. I said, dude, you're like old enough to be my great-grandfather. I'm good.
Okay, but Jasmin, the guy was as old as Moses, but you got to give him credit. At least he was trying to get some game going.
I'm shallow. Hello. I don't know. I'm a very shallow person. I'm shallow, but I'm weird with people. I like interesting people. I dated Lemmy from Motorhead when I first moved to LA, but we were friends until he died. He's one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I know that you dated him, and I never met him myself, but a few of my acquaintances know him, and they said he was pretty cool. And he was into true crime.
True crime is cool.
Definitely. And that's why we're here. And I was going to say it's going through a resurgence, but I don't think it's ever gone away.
It's because it's real people as well, and that's what makes it appealing to some of us.
Now, I mentioned the O.J. Simpson case, which is a personal favorite of mine. Do you have anything that you'd consider a favorite?
I would say there are a few, but I like the Jodie Arias case. I actually sent her an Easter card the other day.
You told me that, which is actually a good segue because that's one of the cases that we're going to be covering on this episode of Lust Crimes.
I like that one, and I still like the Madeleine McCann case.
Yeah, Madeleine McCann case. That was terrible.
And yeah, that was so sad and tragic.
It was incredibly sad, and that's one of the cases that we've talked about covering because I've yet to do that case, and it would be a good one for us to do together.
Oh yeah, we should do that together for sure. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Now, part of me thinks that the gentlemanly way to proceed here, Jasmine, is because you're a lady to let you go first. But then there's the other side of me that says it's my show, so I should just take the reins and lead it.
I think you should totally go first. Men should always, yeah.
That won't wreck my chances of getting with you if I'm rude, will it?
As hot as you sound, it definitely doesn't wreck your chances.
Well, that certainly sounds like a hall pass to me. Now, my story takes place in a small town in Alcàsser, Spain in 1992 and involves 3 teenagers who went missing. 14-year-old Miriam Garcia, Antonia Gomez, 15, known as Tony, and her best friend Desiree Hernandez, 14. 3 pretty young girls from good families. The 3 teens had set out to attend a secondary school party at a popular discotheque in town called Cooler, near the outskirts of another small town called Picassent, 4 kilometers away. All in a very quiet, picturesque area where its residents were good middle-class people. And although a little boring for teenage girls, for parents, it's ideal. Now, Jasmine, I know you're familiar with this case and had a chance to read up on it.
Yeah, I also watched the special on TV. It was truly tragic and just a sad time, I think, especially for a small town like that.
And something that still reverberates all across Spain to this very day. It was Friday, and it was around 6 o'clock, and the girls were setting out to this party. Now, Miriam Garcia had asked her father if he could drive the girls to the discotheque. And although only a short drive away, he said that he couldn't because he was unwell. He'd been suffering from influenza. Now, ironically, if that's the proper word to use, one of their friends was supposed to go with them as well. But she was also unwell, and they'd phoned her to tell her to come on out. They're all going, and her mom said she was sleeping. And then when she woke up, she would tell her daughter and she could join them. And she overslept, and she never ended up going. Now, it seems the father not being able to drive them, well, not seems, it is a critical juncture here, affecting the outcome of this story. And I hope to God he wasn't making up this illness because it would be something that he would have to live with for the rest of his life. I mean, who knows? But I mean, you kind of figure he'd make that effort, but maybe he just thought, hey, the town's safe.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of weird.
I mean, I don't want to judge. I don't know too much about influenza. Where you cough up blood, you get diarrhea and whatnot.
Yeah, but it's still not a big enough excuse to not take your teenage daughter to a club, to drive her there. But then again, we weren't living in the times then as we are now.
And if he did have diarrhea, you don't want to be driving around shitting himself. Like I said, this is a quaint Spanish village where that sort of thing might be frowned upon. But anyhow, this is when the girls decided to hitchhike. Now, you ever hitchhike, Jasmine? Because you strike me as a girl in her younger years who would have hitchhiked.
I've hitchhiked once in my life, and clearly I'm sitting here speaking with you, so nothing bad happened.
Well, Jasmine, I have hitchhiked, and although it's a very uncomfortable tale, I figure
Oh, God.
your lips will be sealed and you won't share it with anyone.
It won't. Go ahead.
Well, Jasmine, it was the fall of 1982, and John Cougar's Jack and Diane were riding high in the charts. I must remind you, Jasmine, that this is a serious tale. So please retard any of your laughter or unfavorable remarks. It was Devil's Night, and I was going to Diane Crawford's annual Halloween party.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to this party with my best friend, Sean Moon. But no one called him that. They called him Mooney. And I was in love with this girl who was going to this party, and I was hoping to get with her. Her name was Linda Lee Appleton. And she was tasty. Almost as tasty as you are, Jasmine. So me and Mooney, we went to this party, and while we were there, someone puked in the magazine rack.
Ew.
I know. And what made this worse is that someone blamed me and told the parents it was me who did the puking. And the parents confronted on me, and confronted me on it, and I told them, listen, I never puke when I'm on narcotics. They have a calming effect on me. But it didn't matter. The parents still kicked me out into the cold October night. Now, if I'm being truthful, I don't remember too much because we'd taken a couple of tabs of Keep On Truckin' acid, we smoked some weed, as well as a Mickey of rum. But I do remember it was cold and I was just wandering, and I decided to hitchhike. I was desperate. I was tripping. I just wanted to get home. So I'm out there hitchhiking, and I'm looking pretty cool, Jasmine. I got my David Lee Roth hair, and just like I fucking look cool. And this van pulls over. And there were 4 Mexicans in there, and they asked me if I wanted to ride, and I said, yeah, sure. So I climb in the van, and there were a fucking mattress in there.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they asked me, they said, oh, you look tired, do you want to lay down? I said, oh, yeah, sure, what the fuck? And I went in there, and I went back, and they jumped me.
What the fuck?
And they raped me, Jasmine.
What?
Jazz, I knew telling you this was a bad idea and this wouldn't be a safe place for me. I'm confessing these things to you, Jazz.
I'm sorry.
Then they just threw me out of their van like discarded trash and drove away.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Did you ever did you figure out who they were?
Well, I called the cops. I don't think they took me serious. And first of all, they said, how do I know they were Mexicans? And I said, well, because they were listening to Santana.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they listen to.
And they showed me some mug shots, and I said, this is pointless. I was face down on the mattress, and besides, all Mexicans look very similar.
They all look the same, actually. Yeah.
But I digress here. Let's just move on from and get back to our story.
It's just I'm still kind of floored by this. I'm very shocked.
Let's just leave it behind, Jazz, and please don't mention it on any of your social media platforms. I know you have millions of followers, and could ruin my career.
Yeah, but it's still so fucked up. I mean,
to be honest with you, this story really isn't true. I just told you so you'd maybe pity me, go on a date with me. But you're making me digress, Jasmine, and I'm going to continue with this story. So these girls had made the unwise decision to hitchhike to this club. And they were picked up by this young couple who were going to the movies, and they were dropped off at a gas station.
yeah, that's safe. That's safe.
And if you see the pictures, it's a little village or it's just on the outskirts of town. And one of the friends who went to school with them was driving by on a scooter, and he saw the girls and he waved at them, and they waved back as they were walking. Now, it was minutes after this, at around 8:30 p.m., that a woman on her third-story balcony at watering her plants saw the girls get into a car full of men, a white sedan.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because there were 2 men that were caught eventually.
And although we are getting a bit ahead of ourselves, yes, that's correct. 2 men
Yes.
were caught eventually. But this woman, she swears that there were 3 of them in the car. There were 2 in the front seat, and 1 got out of the back, and he let the girls in, and then he got back in with them. And that was the last time they were seen. They didn't return home that night. And I guess it's very typical in cases like this, all around the world, that when girls don't return, that when you call the cops, they say, we have to wait 48 hours.
See, that's the problem. That's a problem because these are young girls. I get it. Okay, maybe they ran away. Maybe they, slept off their alcohol, whatever, drunkenness somewhere. But that's the problem right there. The cops took way too long. 48 hours.
Exactly. And it's happened too many times to even mention where police believe they just run away or they're tearaways or they're just, and valuable time is wasted.
It is. It's 48 hours is too long. It should be right away. Okay, this is what happened. And even if they were out and about and they slept at a friend's house, it doesn't make a difference because so much could happen.
Now, this elderly lady who was out on her balcony watering her plants, she swears that it was between 8:15 and 8:30. And because this was a close-knit community, there was a massive search police, volunteers, the military. It was on TV, radio, people out handing out pamphlets, community searches. No stone was unturned. And with all this media attention, people started coming forward and saying that they'd seen the girls, and which lent to the cops' theory that they had run away. There was one incident where a long-haul truck driver about 40 miles away swore he saw the girls, saying he was 99.9% positive that he witnessed them eating breakfast in a roadside cafe, and they were laughing and having a good time. And this confused investigators because they thought, are these girls safe and they're just out playing around with everyone? And how many times have you heard this in a case where a missing person has been spotted by the general public and it's totally screwed up the investigation?
Oh, all the time. And my other question is, this woman who said she saw 3 men in the car, how good was her eyesight?
Jasmine, if I knew that, I'd be an optician, not sitting here with you.
And how far away did she see this from?
Well, I saw an interview with this witness, and the location wasn't very far. But you know, she was an old lady. I mean, you know how old people are. I mean, come on. You remember when you have to deal with your grandma. Old people are notoriously undependable. But, you know, she said she was sure. But then again, so did the truck driver.
See, I don't believe that. That's another instance. Like, were you drunk when you saw them? How far away were you? Were you just driving by? Could it have been just 3 young girls with dark hair around the same age sitting there? Or did he just want to come out and say something to be relevant or to get the news? Did they interview him on TV or any?
Well, yeah, they did. And, you know, he seemed positive. But, you know, it's like any case in the history of cases, there's always people, witnesses, who believe that they saw something or they saw the person who was already dead. I mean, look at the Madeleine McCann case.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many people who said they'd seen her. I mean, there was that one couple that they said they'd seen her in Morocco, and that she'd been kidnapped, and some couple were keeping her up in a mountain, and they showed all that picture of a blonde kid living up in the mountains, and it just turned out to be just some blonde fucking Afghan kid or something.
Yeah, I mean, people just have to be really sure, because you're dealing with the family's feelings as well, and it's such a tender situation. This was really tragic, and I felt so bad because the ages of the girls, and there's one photo of one of these girls holding a cat, and I love cats. That's the thing that really got to me.
Yeah, me too. I'm definitely a fan of cats.
Meow.
So, yeah, but I mean, there's always people that come forward, you know, but it's almost like, you know, like you go and you fucking ask for directions. And sometimes people come and stop and ask me for directions, and I almost feel embarrassed to say I don't know. So I send them somewhere else. I go, yeah, fucking go down there, turn left, turn right. Then you go down there and you go about 10 miles, and then you're going to be there. And then I run away so they won't come back and get me. Like, I'm a bit nervous that I gave them bad because I feel embarrassed. So maybe some people think that. They just give these false sort of hope or whatever. I don't know. There might be something psychologically behind it, but, you know, I'm not an expert. But as you mentioned, it does mess up the case. And as I mentioned, there was this massive media attention on this case, live press conferences of the parents making pleas for the daughters to come home. And although I don't speak Spanish, the sadness in the parents' faces, it was painful to watch. I mean, these are young girls. These are the parents' babies.
Yeah.
And they're hanging on to the hope, aren't they, that these kids are still alive?
Of course.
Now, after an extensive search to find these girls, they were finally located. The bodies were located on January 27th, 1993, 75 days after they'd gone missing. And they were found by 2 beekeepers in a ditch located near La Ramona Ravine, in what appeared to be a shallow grave that had been unsettled by heavy rains in the region, when one of the beekeepers had spotted what appeared to be a hand sticking out of the dirt, wearing a watch. And this was an inhospitable region. It was up in the hills or mountains near a dam called Toch. I mean, what are beekeepers doing up in the mountains? I don't know. For me, those 2 clowns would have been number 1 suspects. When was the last time you saw a bee in a mountain?
I was just thinking that's just that's so random. I don't think they were beekeepers. I think they might have been a couple of vagrants.
Vagrants, eh?
That's possible. Yeah.
You got a suspicious mind, Jasmine.
Beekeepers, my butt. Maybe the cops made that up because, as we know, these cops in a lot of the in some of these countries are very sloppy. They do really sloppy work.
They're corrupt as well.
Oh,
Corrupt
of
as hell.
course.
They got the pineapple complexions, you know, the pockmarked face. They wear those cheap fucking Ray-Bans that are like imitation ones. They got the greasy fucking hair and everything. But yeah, so apparently we have no reason to disbelieve these guys are beekeepers. But later on, when the case was criticized and people started coming out with conspiracies, they said that bees don't even come out of their hives that time of year, so the beekeepers wouldn't have been up there. So something was very suspicious. I mean, this is the dead of winter. Beekeepers up in the fucking mountains? Come on. Now, as mentioned, these beekeepers had spotted a hand sticking out of the dirt, and that hand was wearing a watch. And Antonia, or Tony Gomez's parents, said that their daughter had been wearing a watch the night she'd gone out, and it was a Mickey Mouse watch.
Ugh.
And the reason they'd found it is because the rain had uncovered a shallow grave. And anyway, they went up there, and of course, it was the girls. And the three of them had been buried in a shallow grave.
So disgusting.
And although the parents of the girls had to wait for the autopsy results to confirm that it was their children, I mean, they must have known. I mean, they must have. And I saw the picture, and it was like a skeleton's arm wearing a Mickey Mouse watch with it just sort of like the skin had, there was some skin left on it, but it was like cured like leather. And it was very sad. Just with this Mickey Mouse watch. So for the parents, it must have been horrible. And the parents, and it was all on captured on the news, and they filmed. And it would later, they would be very critical of the case because of they covered how much they covered it, like, you know, putting the hand sticking up with the watch on and stuff on the front page of the newspaper. And these are children.
Yeah. Sometimes the news could be so insensitive towards the family putting photos up like that. I'm curious to see them. But just putting it out there and just rubbing in the family's faces of what a life once was, you know, and the Mickey Mouse watch, that's the worst part of this. It's a young person.
Well, exactly. And that is what is so sad about it. But one of the, so they go there and they find, and they start doing a little poking around, and there were beer cans there and a bunch of empty potato chip packets and food boxes. So it kind of looked like there'd been a party there. And this is the weird thing, because remember we were saying before about the woman saying that there were three people. There were 3 belts on the ground. 3 belts, okay. Jasmine. Do you know any guys who wear 2 belts, Jasmine? I mean, I know you probably rolled with some real weird fuckers, but 2 belts?
2 watches maybe, but not 2 belts, unless someone's belly is so freaking huge they have to attach the damn belt to the other one somehow to go around their pig belly. But I can't even see that being a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, probably some heavy metal bands would probably get a bit fruity and wear two, but I know you like death metal and shit like that, and I can't imagine them wearing 2 belts.
Yeah, maybe 2 bullet belts, but that's it.
Yeah, these were just normal fucking like businessman belts. They were not cool belts. I saw the picture of it. There were 3 of them, Jasmine. 3. So that tied in with what that lady had said.
Yep. Now it makes sense.
So, yeah. But I don't know why they leave the fucking belts. Like all 3 of them?
They probably thought they'd never get caught, or, oh, it's okay. It's all the way up here in the mountains. Nobody will ever come here. So we could just do what we want. We'll leave it here. No one's going to give a shit about these girls.
But Jasmine, when I fuck a girl, I put my belt back on. I don't I don't take it out of all of its loops either. Like I just fucking, you know, sometimes I don't even take my pants off. I just fucking pull them down to my knees. I don't take the belt off.
But wait, why can't you have to take the belt off? Because how are you gonna, well, I don't know.
No, you just slide your fucking pants down, Jasmine, and get the job done. You know the score. Come on.
Yeah, that's
You know how this thing works. You this isn't your first rodeo.
You take your socks off at least? Okay.
I do. Yeah, I do. As a rule, because I do find that pretty disgusting.
It is.
You know? I'm trying to tick all the boxes here. I don't want to ruin it with you. Like this guy keeps his socks on. So I have to be careful. I have to navigate. But yeah, no, that is horrendous if you don't take your fucking socks off. I want to say that on record here. I'm going to say that on record. But you're making me digress
I
here,
know.
Jazz, and I'm losing my focus. So they found the three belts there, which were fucking. Now get this. They found this is going to blow your mind, Jasmine. They found an emergency social security referral letter, an emergency doctor's note on behalf of Angeles Martinez. And this individual, whoever he was, had to go to the hospital for an emergency doctor's appointment because he had VD.
Yeah, that's
And although faded and all weather beaten, because it was there.
like he's proud of that. It's almost like he left it there on purpose, or maybe he did fall out of his trouser pockets by accident. But that's just disgusting on a whole other level. So you have a VD, you have an infected thing. And you go out there, you rape these poor girls, and
3 girls. The fourth one never went that night.
I'd like to personally catch this guy myself.
But Jazz, at this point, we don't know they've been raped. They're just a meal to the maggots. They're just meat. They've been eaten by bugs and whatnot. So we don't even know that. We're assuming. We're assuming with the belts and stuff. And I mean, of course, we think that's definitely what happened. But at this point, we don't know. So you're getting ahead of yourself. But so there's this piece of paper there that's all ripped up and everything, but it's clearly Angeles Martinez, VD, gone for an emergency treatment. So the cops think this is a fucking gift from the gods. So they go right to this guy's house. It even has his fucking address on it. It has the fucking guy's address on it. So the cops go there. They go to this place 2 days later. I don't know why it took them 2 days later. Maybe they staked it out. It don't say, and I guess it don't matter. But they go to this house, and they start pounding on the door and saying, policia, or whatever the fuck Spanish say when they want you to open the door. But apparently, now get this, Jazz, there was a woman's voice inside, and she refused to open the door. She said, no way, Jose. And these cops, they then had to go away and come back with permission to enter the apartment. That's really weird because all the police I know, they don't take no as an answer.
Yeah, they just bust the damn door down.
The times that I've been arrested, the go away line don't work.
The times you've been arrested, okay. That's another episode. Yeah.
But the point I'm making is going away or you can't come in usually isn't an option. So these cops, they went away. I guess they got a search warrant. And then they came back. They kicked the door down. And there were this family that were living there. And they had attempted to put all their furniture in front of the door. But didn't matter. The cops still broke in. And they arrested this Angeles Martinez.
Right.
And they said that they believed that he had murdered these girls because they found his VD thing there. And the first thing the cops noticed was this guy was like retarded.
Yeah.
Like he was semi-retarded.
Exactly.
Retarded people, they're not big on the whole rape thing. Like this guy couldn't put on we're talking about socks. I mean, this guy couldn't even put his fucking shoes on the right feet, much less go and fucking drive out and party and like kill 3 girls. But they had this guy his card there for the VD. So how did retard get VD?
Well, this is the big reveal of that as to who it really was. I read that wasn't even him.
Exactamundo, Jasmine, exactamundo. So then who the fuck was it?
It's impossible. The whole thing is just impossible.
Exactly. Although I used to know this woman who worked at like a home for like semi-retarded people and whatnot, and she said they were like fucking cats in heat. They were always getting it on everywhere and going in closets and whatnot, and the smell were atrocious.
What?
Yeah, she said retarded people like the fuck. That's why they wanted to sterilize them because they just fucking get on. They don't have, you have to have certain niceties to get a girl in bed. You got to be pleasant and whatnot. They don't care. They just fucking go into a closet.
Well, some of us don't have standards. Come on.
That's very true.
But yeah, that's a very wild twist right there. That's extremely wild.
So the first thing and the mom, apparently the mom. Now this is weird because the mom. She said the same thing. My son, he can't even wipe his own ass, so he's definitely not out chasing around teenage girls and getting it on with them and driving out and killing them or whatnot. And she worked at a chicken slaughterhouse.
Ew.
Yeah, I didn't know they had chicken slaughterhouses. But when they were talking to her, she went out and she came and she said that it couldn't have been her younger son, but it had to be her older son who looked exactly like the other son. and that this was his MO. This is that he was an evil kid, and it was him.
So there were two of them.
Well, there was a semi-retard who had the ID, but there was also an older brother named Antonio who was apparently the bad seed, and he often used his retarded younger brother's ID. I guess if he wants to get a library card and he doesn't want to, pay the penalty fees, especially if you got VD, which is kind of, there's a stigma attached to it. But she said he regularly used his younger brother's ID, and when cops checked this Antonio Angelis' record, it was gold. The guy had been in and out of juvie and prison. He was well known to the authorities. You name it, and he'd been in for it. Robbery, assault and battery, sexual assault.
Well, yeah. So it was the brother. It wasn't him. It wasn't the retard.
Well, retard, Jasmine, isn't the politically correct term to use. Let's find another way. That one makes me a bit uncomfortable, if you don't mind, and I ain't asking.
It wasn't the challenged one.
Well, Jasmine, an IQ of about 50 is more than just a challenge, but yeah, they figured it were improbable. But as cops were there interviewing everyone, there was another guy standing there in the corner, saying nothing, just looking stupid. And one of the cops came into the apartment and he said someone's car was blocking the driveway and they wanted to get the arrest van in. And before they could even say anything, this guy said, "Oh, that's my car, I'll move it." And as they were looking out the window watching this guy go down to move his vehicle, they realized that it was the car. These guys are fucking Spanish cops. I guess they're not too bright. But they realized it was the same description of car that the woman had seen off of a balcony with the girls get in.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
And they then radioed down and they arrested this greaseball. And this guy's name, get this guy's name. His name was Miguel the Blonde.
Jesus, sounds like a real ladies' man.
Yeah, he was kind of good looking though. Like he looked both these guys I thought were okay. The retarded guy, even if he were your type, Jazz, I don't think you should be.
He's not my type. Let's get
with,
that. He's totally not my type.
You don't want to be messing. You don't want to be messing with the guy because the mom said he had an IQ of 50. I don't know how that's possible. I think she's exaggerating a bit, but because that's pretty low.
Yeah.
Like 50 is low. So you can do better than that. So this guy, this Miguel Blonde, his name is Miguel Ricard.
Right.
They arrested, but everybody knows him as Miguel the Blonde because he's got blonde hair. So they bring this joker into the cop shop, and the first thing he says is he couldn't have killed the girls because he was in jail at the time. And then when they find out that alibi is untrue, he just falls apart, and he tells them everything. He said that it was all this Antonio Martinez, the brother of the retard, and he said that they were out and they had picked the girls up, and he refused to admit that there was a third person. They picked the girls up and they offered them a ride, and he confirmed that it was at the same corner that the elderly lady had told the police.
Right.
And he said that they picked the girls up, asked where they were going, and offered them a ride. And for me, this part of the story is heartbreaking because at the end of the day, these are 14 and 15-year-old girls and they are children. They're children. They're driving the girls to the club, and as they drive by the club and the girls realize that these guys aren't letting them off, the girls all start screaming. Because
they probably knew something bad was about to happen and it's just a bad choice getting in the car. That's sad.
And as these children are screaming and crying, this Antonio Martinez, he starts pistol whipping them.
Oh, God. These are tiny girls, though. These are tiny little girls. Jesus Christ.
I can't even imagine the horror that these young girls must have felt. I can't even imagine it. So he beats them into submission, and they drive them up to these hills, this mountainous region, which is not easy to get to. The cops needed a 4x4 to get up there, but they got up there, and they brought them to these barracks or an abandoned sort of a house where the beekeepers would hang out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, they bring the girls in there, and the girls say they want to go home. They're crying. They want to see their mom. And they bring the girls in there, and there's a mattress in there.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a mattress in there, and this Martinez guy, he says what he's gonna, what they're gonna do. So we're gonna fuck these girls, we're gonna party, it's gonna be good. And apparently, what Miguel LeBlanc said, he said he didn't want to do it. Now,
I don't believe that.
I mean, well, neither do I, but I mean, everyone who knew this guy said it weren't his MO. He weren't into the rough stuff and abuse of girls and whatnot.
I don't believe that.
I'm not his lawyer, Jasmine. I'm just repeating what they said. That, you know, like he didn't want to, and he said he didn't want to. I mean, there's something that we're talking about a big cross in the fucking line here, though, aren't we, Jasmine? We're like, there's a difference between burglaring a house and abducting and raping underage girls.
Oh yeah, it's a huge difference. It's like night and day. And these girls were, I mean, they weren't even 16 years old. Not that it would have made it better, but these were like little kids, little babies.
Agreed. And, you know, and sometimes they might look like women or, you know, young women, but at the end of the day, they're still kids. So this guy said that he didn't want to, and he said that this Martinez guy said that he will send them to the devil if he don't get balls deep in these girls, like he don't join in.
Yeah, okay. Nobody was actually twisting his arm.
Well, he said he was terrified of this Martinez guy. They were fucking nuts. Those are his words. And I mean, you know, who would we can only hypothesize here. So what this Martinez did, he brought the girls, and he brought the 14-year-old out first, which was Tony Gomez. He untied her arms, put her on the mattress, and he raped her. He did his business, and he sodomized her. Then he held a gun to Miguel LeBlanc, and he made him have a turn while he watched on and cheered him on. And then they tied her up again, repeating this cycle for the next couple of hours. Then, without any warning, Miguel LeBlanc said that Martinez just got up and he left, and he was gone about 3 hours. He just drove away. He didn't say anything. Well, it seems a bit fucking weird to me, but and if he wasn't into this, that would have been his time to let the girls escape, I think. Even though I have to say they were in the middle of nowhere. It stated this isn't a place that you could have walked up. Like they couldn't have walked home from that.
No, but I'm sure they could have gotten down to like a street with some cars on it. No?
No.
Do you think they even would have survived a walk down that hill in their condition?
Well, it's in the shit end of nowhere, and having been in Spain at night in the desert, in those desert mountainous areas, it's fucking freezing. Might be hot during the day, but it is freezing at night. But for whatever reason, he didn't do anything. And then this Martinez returned 3 hours later, and he brought some sandwiches, some snacks, and some beer. He went to a bar, grabbed some beer, had some sandwiches and snacks. So they came back. They had the beer, the sandwich. They offered the girls some water.
Yeah.
And only one girl accepted a drink of water. The other two didn't. And then they did it all over again. And he said they were he figured they were going to spend the next night. It was a bit of a camping trip, and they were going to just keep doing it. But then the girls started fucking freaking out. Like it was getting messy, like because they're kids. You know, they weren't playing along. They were screaming. They're freaking out. And the next morning, he started walking him out. Martinez started walking him out to the car. And according to Antonio the Blonde, this is when he told Martinez that he thought that they should let the girls go.
Yeah, you should. Why not?
But this infuriated Martinez, and he held the gun up to his head, and he said, "You're even more fucking retarded than my brother. And if we let these girls go, they're going to go straight to the cops, they're going to rat us out, and you and I are going to jail forever." He then yelled at him to go back inside and get the carpet that they'd been using all night as a blanket. According to Miguel LeBlanc, Martinez had got so drunk that he brought all three girls into the bed with him, and he covered them all with a carpet, and he fell asleep while he was holding the gun against them.
This is just horrendous. Yeah, wait, watch.
And he made Miguel keep a lookout. I don't know for who, for fucking beekeepers. And he said that Martinez had stripped the girls off and thrown their clothes away, so, you know, he wasn't intending to give them back, it seemed. And this is when Miguel LeBlanc, he brought the carpet out, this was the first time he'd become aware that Martinez had dug a shallow grave. And he threw the carpet inside the shallow grave.
Oh, God.
And this is the part that breaks my heart. He lined these three young girls up with their hands tied behind their back at the edge of the shallow grave. And he walks up behind Miriam. And at this point, the girls are sobbing uncontrollably. And he comes up behind Miriam Garcia. And he puts a gun to her head, and he pulls the trigger, and the gun misfires.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And the girls all start screaming like banshees because they know what's going to happen to them. And he puts the gun up again and he shoots Miriam. Then Tony. Then Desiree, all in the back of the head. And according to Miguel LeBlond, Desiree was the only girl to speak, and her last word was "mummy" before she was shot in the back of the head. And then Martinez kicked the girls' bodies into the shallow grave. And he made Miguel LeBlond fill up the hole. Now, what makes this even more horrific was that police believed that he had sex with one of the girls, believed to be Desiree, because he hadn't been able to have sex with her that night in the shack, whether that was because she wouldn't let him or he was too drunk, or we don't know the reason. And Miguel wasn't saying whatever it was, but he had sex with her when she was dead.
Yeah, that's the sickening part. I remember reading that, and that. How much of a coward are you to do something like this? And then to shoot them execution style. They just should have let the girls go. Chances are the girls never would have been able to identify these guys. They would have had a head start. Not that I'm not encouraging anyone to do a crime then run, but they would have had a head start to leave.
Yeah, but most of us aren't psychopaths, so, that takes us out of the equation. And it was noted during the autopsy that Desiree Hernandez had horrific injuries, most notably in her vagina where a sharp object had been repeatedly inserted inside of her, but also her anus where she was pretty badly cut up. And by what, they couldn't say for sure. And Miguel LeBlond, he wasn't squawking.
Probably a knife?
Well, they can't say. They didn't know, and they couldn't say for sure. Miguel LeBlond, because they didn't find any weapons. And Miguel LeBlond said he went there when it happened, so, whether that's truthful or not, I don't know. But he's got no reason to lie. And he also said that Martinez had made him get plants, go out and find some flowers and put it all on top of this makeshift grave. I don't know if he were trying to be cute or for whatever reasoning.
Yeah, nobody made him do anything. He did this. No one was holding a gun to his head. He's just as twisted as the others that were there.
Who can say, Jazz? Who can say? But when cops questioned the blonde about the extra belt that was there, they couldn't give him an answer. And he said he acted strange. They felt something wasn't right. They couldn't put their finger on it, but they felt that he wasn't giving them the true skinny on it. You got any theories here?
Who could have been that third person? Do you think maybe the challenge guy was dragged into all of this?
I don't know. I saw the challenge guy like being interviewed, and like he was like the first one that they like I said that they believed did it and stuff. And I don't know.
It's weird.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they were protective. He seemed very sweet, but he didn't strike me like the type of guy. Like, as he was saying, like they interviewed him, and he said, that his brother was evil. His brother beat up him. He beat up his mom. He beat up, and they interviewed the sister, who's like incognito, like she hides her identity. She was wearing this wig and everything, and she said the same thing. They were all abused, and like this guy were like, and the mom like mortgaged the apartment and everything to get him out of jail, and he still treated her like shit. But it seemed like they all lived in terror of this guy.
Yeah, then it's possible. There's like a slim chance this guy was involved, or someone super dangerous, maybe linked in with. Who were their connections outside of there? Was there someone else with them who might have been politically linked to someone big?
And that's what a lot of people are saying. There's something don't smell right.
Okay.
Because when cops went to arrest Martinez, it was almost like he'd been warned. And he went, well, they're at the front door. Cops were at the front door. Martinez went out the back window and got away on some sheets. He was like a fucking Spanish Tarzan. Man, he disappeared into thin air.
Spanish Tarzan. I'm sorry. Just the analogy. It's just such a cowardly thing. And the sloppy police work, had they have gotten, some type of a head start on this, like had they have done something the second they knew these girls were missing, what are the chances they would have gone up there into the mountains?
I don't know. I really don't know on this one. It seems they had a chance to arrest these guys and they failed.
You just bust the door down.
You'd think, but looks like they gave this Martinez a get out of jail free card without even going to jail. But that's not all. The first autopsy they did, I guess they just used a local guy who, who knows, he was sidelining as a forensics guy, and on the side he were a barber and, worked at the local butcher as well. But when this joker turned in his report, the government, the federal government, they weren't happy with it, so they sent the main forensics guy, all Spain, to go down there. And when he got there, the bodies were totally clean. They were totally washed out and sprayed, the insides and everything wiped clean. There was no evidence. It was all gone. This joker had totally destroyed any evidence.
Jesus Christ.
Those girls were cleaner than the sole on a cripple's boot, Jazz.
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't want any trace of any of this to come back to him, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was good at what he did.
Well, this was the mortician. As far as I know, he didn't have a chair at the table.
The mortician guy, well, then he's just an idiot. He shouldn't have done that. That's the stupidest thing. You didn't do the bodies any justice by doing that.
Well, exactly. And when the federal hotshot hired gun came, I mean, he said there was nothing to look at. Nothing. Like they'd wasted a train ticket sending them because the evidence had all been washed down the drain.
Well, wait a second. Do you think that this, the backlot mortician, we'll call him, or the barber mortician, do you think maybe, okay, we can say he didn't know what he was doing, but do you think maybe one of those guys who did this, specifically the one that got away with the third belt, could have been someone, like I said before, that's tied into some big official somewhere in the government, and they had to do this? Is that a possibility?
It is, and there have been various theories on who the third belt belonged to.
Again, maybe he was just a barber mortician. He didn't know any better.
Yeah, maybe. But how much do you need to know? This ain't the 1800s. I mean, we all know enough that you don't stick the hose up inside of a murdered rape victim and wash everything away.
I mean, maybe it could have been the mentally challenged, the PC term. Maybe it was his jizz in there and the family didn't want him to go to jail.
Nah, for me, that don't work. I mean, she worked in a chicken slaughterhouse. She was hardly running the village. She was the godmother.
That's the only other way, but I think there was a cover-up. That's just me.
And yeah, you're not alone in thinking that, Jasmine. There were a lot of theories. There were certainly accusations that the guard, the local police chief, were corrupt. And there was some whispered that there were possibilities that he might have been getting stinky finger with the retarded kid, and he wanted to protect them for some reason. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seems too crazy for me. And because this retarded guy seemed like a pretty nice guy.
He seemed like a nice guy.
Well, he did. He seemed. Well, I haven't met him.
I mean, sure. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, unlike his brother. But okay, let's assume that if he's such a nice guy, maybe if he was dragged into this whole debacle, he didn't want to say anything. I still say you don't know if that third person's dad was a cop. You don't know anything. It's possible it was the cop's son.
Yeah, well,
Everyone else
but
is
then
afraid to talk.
But this Miguel LeBlond, he says the retard weren't, but he was close to the family. So can you even trust this guy?
No.
But he says is that the semi-retarded guy, he's good as gold. There's no way. It's like he weren't involved. It was just the two of them. But he can't fucking come up with an explanation for that third belt.
Yeah, it's because there's a third person there and they're protecting that person. So either it was the the mentally challenged, or it was, like we said, someone in Power's child, or maybe it was another teenager they had hanging out with them, a young guy, and they had some kind of sick, twisted game they were playing.
Yeah, I mean, the most far out, but still kind of a viable theory was that like you said, maybe the retard he was brought up in that hill and he had been doing it with the girls, and he was the plaything, the boy toy of the police, that they, because they all say that this chief of police had a secret life and he were corrupt, and who knows, maybe he was getting sticky finger with the retarded guy, and he wanted to protect, his lover. But I mean, the guy, he had an IQ of 50. I mean, does this sound crazy to you, Jasmine?
No. You and I have had these conversations about other crimes in the past, and especially specifically with Madeleine McCann, and you're usually correct. So was he that's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's
Maybe in
possible. I
another
like that idea.
dimension. I mean, no one knows no one that well at the end of the day, Jasmine. I mean, that's what my dear old grandmother used to say. No one knows no one that well.
She's right about that, or she was right about that. But yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's possible. I think that the retarded child, or sorry, the mentally challenged kid, was somehow involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's that 50% chance, and the other 50% is what we said. How do you know the cop wasn't involved?
Well, that's what they're saying online. And it's hard to disseminate a lot of this shit because it's in Spanish. But they have said that the chief of the police is corrupt and he's a little light in the loafers. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, he looks slimy. Maybe he was the third
Well,
person.
maybe. But as forementioned, he likes ass pussy. Women ain't his thing. Now, the funeral for the three girls was heartbreaking. It was televised live on television, and I saw a clip of it. And they were laid out beside each other in a mausoleum, and it was just a sort of a community in grief. It was horrible. And a lot of the spotlight was put on the fourth friend who had survived just because she'd overslept. And she was racked with guilt. Nothing good. Just all sorrow. Now, Miguel Ricard, or Miguel the Blonde, as he was known as, was sentenced to 170 years in prison.
Right. Rightfully so too. But
Well, that was only a maximum prison sentence of 30 years, so he's out in the street now. He was out in 20 years and was released in 2013, and they released him on good behavior. I mean, if that ain't a crime.
yeah, and he was in south of France, which is scary because that's, where we're from.
That's
And
your stomping
yeah, that's
ground,
my
yeah.
stomping ground. And I don't, what surprises me is nobody got to him in jail. Like someone should have gotten to him. That's worth putting like €1,000 into someone's commissary somehow and going after him.
Yeah,
Like, why didn't the parents
yeah.
do that? That's the first thing I would have done. And going back for a second, I wonder if there's any guilt on the father's part for not driving his daughter to the and her friends to the disco.
Well, I've seen several interviews with the father. I'm guessing that the mother has passed, and I mean, he seems a shadow of a man. Small, skinny, he almost speaks in a whispering tone, and I'm guessing well, just from the interviews, I mean, he's crying. He spends the interview crying, and this is, 30 years later. We make mistakes, and unfortunately, there's no going back, and hindsight is the lottery of life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like the case of the Ken and Barbie killers with Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo, and where they abducted Leslie Mahaffey. She was supposed to come home and she'd missed her curfew, and her parents and her stepfather had locked her out to teach her a lesson. And she was sort of just hanging around outside the house because she didn't know what to do. And that's when Bernardo and Carla came along and picked her up. A simple, seemingly innocent decision by the parents, and look how it all turned out.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different murders. It's a split second, the Preppy murder trial, Jennifer Levin. I went to school with Jennifer actually, but that's just,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's so many things that happen and you can't go back. But getting back to Ricard, he got out after such a minimal, he should have been there for all three murders. Like, I feel that sentence is just for one of the lives, not for all three. How do you have good behavior? I just.
Well, at least Miguel LeBlanc did some time. That's more than his amigo and ringleader Martinez ever did. And, he, as mentioned, he got out the window on a sheet like a greasy Tarzan. And last time he was seen, he was boarding a container ship headed out to the sea. I mean, it defies my imagination how this guy was able to get away.
Well, look at the way he did it. I mean, he's a wuss. Look at the way they murdered these girls and what they did to them. It doesn't surprise me. I think he went back to Brazil.
Well, as mentioned, he stowed away on this city of Plymouth. was the ship's name, and they believe that he jumped ship near Ireland and tried to swim ashore, which would have been quite the swim. They figure he didn't make it and he would have frozen to death, or drowned. And I mean, but for me, where there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, not pleasant, but couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. But there have been theories, as you mentioned, that he made it to Brazil, as he does have a Brazilian passport. But maybe we'll never know. He's on Interpol's top 10 list, so they're still looking for him.
Well, they go a few ways. It's quite possible that yes, he jumped, and in a perfect world, he's dead. But there's a slim chance. How do you know he didn't end up somewhere in Ireland right now? He's in some small town. Let's say he's in Cork or somewhere else.
Anything's possible, but he'd have to be a pretty good swimmer for that. And if I were a betting man, I'd say he's at the bottom with the eels. But then it goes in full circle here, isn't it? Because there's all those conspiracy theorists that say the chief of police was having an affair with his younger brother, the retarded kid, and he was the one who authorized him to get him on the ship in the first place.
It's possible to get away and this is where we go back to, well, was this guy involved? I still say it's a slim chance, like with this information about how corrupt this cop is, that he was involved. Or he's related to one of these jerk-offs.
Yeah, exactly. And jerk-off is an eloquent description, because that's what these guys are, fucking jerk-offs. And, well, they're talking about, because they were talking about Mr. Blonde, and the last time that he popped up on the radar, he was buying drugs in a crack house in South of France.
No, I think he was back in Madrid.
No, it was Madrid. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And that was in 2020.
So he went back to Spain. Yeah, thank God he's out of France. So did he go to jail? That was around COVID also.
I don't know. That's where the trail goes cold.
I still say the cop is involved. I don't think the retard could have done it. I think I think he would have folded. Okay, I did it. He would have folded.
Yeah, he was quite sweet too. I saw an interview of him.
Do you want to adopt him or something? My God. Do you want to have coffee with him?
Well, no.
Should we meet him for lunch?
Him might be bad. I get him to fucking lawn work and whatnot.
I don't know if we want. Then the brother comes and visits
we can adopt him together.
Yeah, let's do that. I mean, really, what would we do with him? I mean, can he cook?
And I think on that note, Jazz, will end this case, and we're going to move on to yours. We've digressed enough. So what do you got for us?
Jodie Arias. Mesa, Arizona, June 4th, 2008, murdered Travis Alexander.
And hopefully we're going to look into what built up to this.
Yeah, I think there were so many different things in this case. Let's first talk about Jodie Arias growing up as a child. She grew up in a home with her mom and dad and siblings. And her first boyfriend, she was it seems like growing up, she just, kind of did her thing, but apparently her parents were very abusive. This is what I read somewhere.
Is she saying this, or this is something you read?
This is something I read, and then they had this special about friends speaking about it, that there was a lot, it wasn't physical abuse, but a lot of yelling, which could be just as bad, right? And,
she was a Cali girl, wasn't she? Born and bred in California.
Salinas, California. It's a beautiful suburb of Monterey County. Allegedly the parents owned a restaurant. Then you later learn that they didn't own the restaurant, that, the mom just worked there. But it seemed as though, a lot of her life, she just worked at pleasing men, And her first boyfriend, he was kind of a weirdo. He lived in a trailer, wore all black, and she had to do everything for him. Supposedly he never worked, so she was working as a waitress to to provide for him and her.
Okay, so you're sort of setting a bit of a character. You're telling us a bit about her character here.
Yeah,
I mean, she was a good looking girl as well. I mean, it's just I think she would have been able to get guys, but there seems to be this whole pleasing thing. It's a bit strange.
Well, yeah, and that's gonna play into the whole Travis thing because after that, her other boyfriend, it was he was normal. He was a single dad with a young boy. Now knowing what he did,
This was her boyfriend before
yep,
Travis.
yep. And it seemed like a normal relationship, but she allegedly wanted kids of her own. And, it was kind of a deal breaker for him because he already had a child.
Hmm.
Okay, and I get that. That's fine. There's some people that don't want that, and that's fine. Um, and she went on. She went on to doing other things with her life. She started to train to work for, I think it's a pyramid scheme. It was this company called PPL.
PPL, yeah.
Yeah, paid something legal. And she went on to, working there, doing something while pursuing photography on the side.
Yeah, she did a few odd jobs there, and then she was eventually given a sales position.
Right. And that's where she met Travis Alexander. A little bit about Travis, because I feel as though people paint him to be like this squeaky clean guy. I have this thing against guys that do stand-up comedy. Do you do stand-up comedy?
What do you think?
You're like way too cool. So yeah, no.
That's not my caper. And although I didn't know that, I can picture it now.
Exactly.
And for some reason, I can picture someone who is very not funny. Anyway, continue.
Well, I'll tell you a little story later about a case where my friend was thrown off a roof, and the guy who did it to her did stand-up comedy at one point. It's this weird thing. So Travis, I think personally, he looks like he didn't deserve to die. Okay, I just want to make this clear to the listeners. Travis Alexander did not deserve to die. Did he deserve to have maybe his, what cut off? Absolutely. Because I dated guys like that at one point in my life, but I certainly didn't, commit heinous acts on them. Maybe put eye drops in their drink, but that's about it. But he had this whole thing with a stand-up comedy, and there was a show on one of these little networks that showed him with a stand-up comedy doing all these dirty jokes.
Really?
So he wasn't some high and mighty like Mormon church guy. And I always find, and I'm sure a lot of the listeners could agree with me on this. Okay, I'm Catholic by faith. I don't judge people. As long as you live your life doing what you're doing and it doesn't affect me, we're cool. Fine. So people who lean so heavily into religion usually have skeletons or have some kind of other freaky side to them. And apparently
they're hiding from something.
Exactly. And it's usually a double-edged sword. And to him in all of this, when he met Jodie, she was the one that pursued him in a way because she moved to where he lived in Arizona, to Mesa, I believe is where it was.
Okay. And she moved there where she'd been living with her grandparents where in like Eureka. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, that's near Redwood City somewhere. I looked it up. Apparently she moved there when she dropped out of high school and she lived with her grandparents there, but she was in Eureka. But in 2006 is when they met. And, she met Travis Alexander at one of those PPL brainwashing things, those PPL conventions. Now, he was a motivational speaker at this point.
Which is creepy. I mean, at what point do you figure you can motivate people like you're some sort of junior Tony Robbins or something? There's a red flag right there.
Yep, and it was, Travis was probably at an all-time high. Apparently, prior to this, he was from Riverside, California, by the way, guys. He had always been in all kinds of trouble, getting into fights. So I guess between that and his, stand-up comedian career, he found God somehow. He got involved with the church and became a moron. I mean, He became a Mormon. Sorry.
I'm not saying that. I'm not touching that one. I already got enough fuck.
We already have enough on that, right?
I already got enough controversy in my life. But I mean, the guy, he it's weird. Every picture that I see of this Joker, he's got this sarcastic, goofy, sort of lipless smile, and the way that the press painted him as some sort of all-around nice guy.
Yeah, I mean, this girl was already judged by the media, so she never had a fair trial. That's just my opinion. Um, but this is the background on Travis. This is who he was. He was seeing her, he was sleeping with her. He used to refer to her as the three-hole wonder. So that's kind of, I think Jodie really liked him a lot more than he liked her.
I mean, that is. I mean, I don't know who he's referring her to. I mean, but I mean that's. I mean, that's pretty derogatory. I might, at a moment of pleasure after pulling out, refer that to a loved one that I was intimate with. But you wouldn't be saying that to anybody else. That's derogatory. It's very derogatory to someone you care about to refer them that way, I have to say.
To the friends and
Yeah, I mean, that's
everything. And
horrible, isn't it? I
it's
mean, that
really
really is.
sad. And she probably felt like that was literally his dirty little secret. And again, Jodie was a man pleaser. She was a people pleaser. She just wanted to please the guy she was with outside of the bedroom, like do things, whatever it was, to be like them. So eventually she converted to the Mormon church. He baptized her.
This is the thing. I mean, I don't get this because I did a joint, a little film, and it was called Seven Fuckable Killers and Seven Killers That You'd Fuck. And she was one on the list, with those naked pictures. I mean, I thought she looked tasty.
Yeah.
She was fuck. I do not think this guy is a good looking guy. I mean, I'm not into cock, so I don't know. Help me out here,
He's
Jazz.
not.
But
He's not.
he's not he's not a guy that you're afraid that he's going to take your girl from you. Like it's just fucking weird that he's treating her in this derogatory way. And like I said, she converts.
That's a big
I mean,
step.
that's a big step. That is a huge leap of faith, Jasmine. I mean, I went out with this English girl once, and I wouldn't even eat fish and chips because it's just like too much commitment. Jodie is laying it on the line for this Travis Joker.
Is it? I mean, I like different foods, so hey, what do I know? I do.
No, I'm not talking about fish and chips, you silly girl. I'm talking about fucking being. We're on two
I
different
get
pages
it.
here. Let's
No, I get what you're saying. Like
Are you
to
fucking with me?
actually
But
appease
to
the
Church of
person, you do stupid things.
But
I
I mean,
get it.
Church of Latter-day Saints, I mean, that's not a fucking normal religion. That's not one of those fucking religions that you go hang out and eat burgers and shit. Those are the people that wear fucking ties and dance around in fucking dresses and one of those religions. Like, it's not a normal religion. I mean, if there's any such thing as a normal
No,
religion, and I apologize
no,
to
it's
any Mormons
okay. And
listening.
I feel as though the listeners just need to know exactly a little bit more about who she was and who he was before you fall for everything the media did, hook, line, and sinker. And it's they were dating each other. They were seeing each other. He was having some wild sex with her. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about that. He was bragging to his buddies. And they had some really good friends of theirs whose house they would stay at sometimes because eventually, they wanted to stay a little bit closer together because she moved back to California, but they were still kind of seeing each other. And, you know, you always have that sixth sense when people are saying really bad things about you.
He was
Uh,
cock happy because they say that about Prince. They say
yeah,
about Prince Harry where he's getting fucked so good. He's just cock happy. Like he's not fucking thinking straight. It's just this is clearly she were fucking this guy. She were fucking the shit out of this guy, and he were happy. And he probably never had it before. And you see his face, and you kind of get the feeling. I mean, I don't know what his past was like. But although they have spoken to his ex-girlfriends and they he was nice. He was so nice. He was such a sweet guy.
yeah, of course they're going to say that. I mean, but and really quick, not to divert here, but I highly doubt Meghan Markle is a good fuck. I knew her ex-husband, so let's just leave it as that. I wasn't sleeping with him, by the way. Just know that. It just
Yeah, no,
the fuck he
yeah,
was
no,
thinking.
I don't think
Um,
so either. But then you judge the man. judge the man and his experience in life. I mean, this guy is a missionary position sort of fucking guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
You know, he's not the type of guy who's going to want to jerk off on your face and not wipe himself off in the curtains, make a sandwich, and go home. He's not that type of guy, Jazz. He's not that type of guy.
That's kind of hot, actually. Um, I'm getting aroused now. But, when you go back to Jodie, one thing I did forget to mention, her parents, I think trust is a big thing here. And, you know, her parents broke her trust when they called the police for her smoking weed.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and that's pretty sad. She get into arguments. That's exactly why she left home. But now here you are, you have this man, this Travis, who's someone she's supposed to have this relationship with, and she slowly finds out, okay, he's saying all this stuff about me that really hurts my feelings.
Yeah, it's really juvenile as well. Really juvenile, I have to say. I mean, it's the stuff that guys say, when you're 14 and 15 years old, you say these derogatory things. Meanwhile, you probably haven't even fucked your girlfriend, but you say shit like that. But you grow up out of it. And this guy's a man.
Yeah, and it was uncomfortable for her being around this, religion. That's why she went ahead and converted just to be a part of that.
And yet he's part of a religion that proclaims to care about people, and he's calling his girlfriend a three-holed wonder. Nice.
Right. And those are the ones that are usually the dirtiest. And, this type of behavior has an emotional impact on women. It doesn't excuse killing him, by the way. I'm just saying that. And along the way, his friends would say really horrible things about her. Okay, so I don't condone going through like people's emails and stuff like that. But if you have a feeling something's up, you're going to do it. Right. So as you sit there in silence, like, Jasmin, I don't know if this is a really good idea.
I was going to say that is something uniquely female, I think. I mean, I don't go through, but then again, I don't judge them, and I've had all my exes do that with me, going through my thing, and they're always excuses. I know you're hiding something.
And were you?
No, I mean, I wasn't, not all the time, but okay. I mean, that's something that's uniquely female. But I understand, so I'm not judging. So I am listening and understanding that I know that it is a female trait. But I'm not judging. But continue. So she was going through. So I never knew that. So she went through his emails.
Right, and because there was something, he was seeing other girls. In fact, one of these emails allegedly said, "I like how you seductively open your mouth. Send me more photos." Stuff like that he was sending to other women. So Jodie originally, so she then left Mesa and went back to Eureka, but he was still in contact with her. Like, they were still talking while he was seeing other people.
This guy's I had heard that. I mean, this guy's a piece of shit. I mean, she's given so much to him. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, we're guys, aren't we? I don't want to judge him too. We're all part of the same club. But, but this guy is, I mean, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, then they made her out to be some kind of psychopath that was stalking him. Well, hello. If you're telling someone to come over, yes, I still want to see you. And obviously, he still wanted to see her because they're having amazing sex. She's going to come over. It's like playing with her emotions. So she came over. She was still there. He was seeing other women. Maybe they weren't putting out. Maybe it wasn't as fun. And he still kept a sexual relationship with Jodie Arias,
So what are you trying to tell me? You're telling me that this Jodie was really into Travis?
100%. You don't just convert religions. You don't just move and rewire your whole life to something, to a different state if you're not going to pursue something serious.
Was he into her?
He was into her, but not as much as, it was more sexually.
I mean, I'm definitely seeing that this girl was needy, but what was her personality like?
She's damaged.
And I guess that's how he got his claws around her.
She was damaged by her parents. She was looking for the acceptance of another male. I mean, what else is there? She was a people pleaser. She thought she found someone she really liked. Well, let me do everything I can to make this work.
Yeah. I mean, for me, there was something off about this guy.
He's not good looking. He's not you, okay? So yeah, he's not cute.
That's the one thing I'm not going to argue about and we can agree on. But, if she is, so he was basically using her, and she was just a fuck doll. Is that why she moved away again? That and her reading the emails? Was she trying to distance herself and just try to get some space?
I think it was a combination of things. Like, he was the one saying things aren't going to work out because she was, like, when he baptized her, I think it was some kind of sexual turn on for him.
That's fucking weird, isn't it? That's fucking weird.
It is. It's a creepy fetish. But that's what happened, I'm pretty sure. And then, she was gone. They broke up. He said it wasn't going to work out. She was going into his phone. I'll tell you why she was getting jealous, because she probably thought that, hey, we're dating. Why is he talking to these other women?
And yeah, but I mean, it's kind of weird because for me, I'm one of those guys. I like to get hot and heavy, get involved, get locked in, and get everybody locked in, and we just like we're a couple. It just seems weird that she's done so much for them. To me, it seems like they're past dating.
The friends didn't approve of her, and at 30-something, it shouldn't make a difference what the hell your friends think, So the friends did not approve of her. Then you had his best friend's wife saying shit about her, probably because she's jealous. And they painted her as this big monster, and you go back and you look at all these other people that have murdered people in the past, premeditated, like the 3 girls, the Alcàsser girls. Those guys got minimal sentences, or the one that got caught, and then you go to this girl. Okay, yeah, we'll get into the murder briefly, but she doesn't deserve to be behind bars for the rest of her life. There's so much emotional stuff going on. Where was the news covering any of this?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't the media cover how, she's evil? You notice how very religious people use that word evil, 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 without really knowing, the other person as a human being.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think she should have done this. But still.
Well, let's move into the murder, because I find this fascinating on many different levels, mostly because she's a girl and he's a big strapping guy, and she totally wasted this guy. She made him her bitch. So let's get into what happened leading up to the murder.
It was her coming down to see him. She actually dyed her hair. She rented a car from Eureka, okay?
Did he agree on this visit, or was this a surprise?
According to different sources, it was prearranged.
Well, yeah, because he wants to get his cake and he wants to eat it too. This girl, he's already described as his 3-hole wonder.
Exactly, and nobody's going to say no to that. So she came down, she rented a car, which is weird. She put in a can of gas, another weird thing, but maybe not, because if you're a female traveling by yourself, you want to have a can of gas, fine.
The dyeing the hair seems a bit extreme to me.
That's weird.
She dyed it from bright blonde to dark brown.
And she had a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so she came down. So what do we know? Take us through the events that we know.
What we know. Okay, so what we do know is she went down there on June 4th, 2008.
Armed with a knife and a gun.
They had, a lot of really wild sex prior. She was taking photos of everything, photos of her in the bed, naked photos, photos with some kind of little slutty outfit on, and they were doing the dirty.
Are these the notorious bitches that are naked?
Oh, yeah.
The ones, from behind and they're sleeping where you're seeing everything.
I know you totally would, yes.
And that don't make you a psychic, Jasmin.
A lot of guys would. But she went there, did she go in there with the idea of murdering him?
It's weird that she fucked him. That's weird to me right there. Like, I don't know. For me, that's weird. Did something happen after they fucked? Did he say something?
That they probably still aren't dating, we're not together, blah, blah, blah. And, it's that sense of abandonment. But she went down there with the intent to obviously murder him. She had a gun. She stabbed him a bunch of times.
27.
To be exact. And according to the coroner, he was already dead before she shot him.
Yeah, that is the fucking weird thing. And there's that unsettling fucking picture that she took with his camera of him And it's hard because he's got a fucked up face. He's got something I don't like on guys. Tiny noses.
Yeah, and the small eyes, the beady eyes.
Yeah, and the beady eyes. You get the fucking tiny. I don't like tiny noses on girls much either, to be honest with you. You want something a little substantial there. But he's got the beady eyes. He's got no fucking lips, and he looks terrified. I don't know if I'm reading into this.
No, you are not. No, you're not. You're not. He does look terrified, and that's probably when she's coming at the knife at him. And that little crazy switch in her flicks on. Who knows what she said? Maybe she said, "Hey, guess what? You're dead. You shouldn't have fucked with whatever it was." And
yeah, you fucked with the wrong person. Wake up, time to die.
She just should have cut off. She should have just John Wayne Bobbitt him. That would have been sufficient right there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, which is a less crime. But yeah, I mean, but the fact that she took a picture,
and you could see in his eyes, like, wow, this is what my life is, or wow, I'm really scared. This is how it ends. And it's a real horrible degree of sadness you see in those eyes.
And yeah, Mr. Funny Man didn't have anything funny to say at that moment, I'm sure. And then there's that other scary picture of him in the fetal position, laying in the shower.
I mean, she did a number on him, all right. And, that's what happened. Then he's left there. So then she just locks the doors there, whatever, in his bedroom, leaves him. But mind you, he had 3 roommates.
Did he have to? Oh, that's right. He did, didn't he? Yeah, he had.
Which is so next level messed up at that age. Well, how old was he? 37. That's kind of, I don't know. I just have a thing against that.
That's lame. I mean, that's fucking lame.
Good.
I mean, it's like I can't even imagine. I mean, in England, people have. I mean, I've never had roommates.
Thank God.
But in England, a lot of guys do live together because it is so expensive to rent and for accommodations. So, it's not unusual to see guys here all living together. And like I said, when I came to England, it was odd. But then I realized now it's a bit of a cultural thing. And because things are so expensive here, but, I certainly couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But what is weird about it is that everybody was trying to paint him as Mr. Success. Mr. Successful motivation speaker.
Yeah, in a big house. Like, this is the picture the media painted of him, people. I mean, he was doing well. He was working for PPL. I still say it's a pyramid scheme. And then, he had this big house. Then why do you have roommates, bro? Seriously, why do you have roommates?
And as a woman, if you come back to a guy's place, I mean, you want to be able to shake the walls down and, do all your screaming and whatnot. And, there's just something weird if there's other guys in the house.
Yeah, I wouldn't date a guy that had roommates. It's like the first red flag.
So he's got these roommates. Do we know where the roommates were when he was murdered?
They weren't there, but then she put the camera in the washing machine. She forgot to take had she taken that SD card out, maybe... there would have been
she would have had a chance.
She would have had a chance, guys. She could be yours. So she leaves, and apparently she was in contact with someone. I think his name was Ryan Burns, who was a friend of both of theirs. And I guess they were, he was calling Travis because they were supposed to go to Cancun. No reply. He was speaking to Jodie. She showed up to wherever they were meeting. I guess she was at a work thing, and she showed up with dark hair, which was odd.
Because a lot of people said that, didn't they? They said it was really odd that she showed
up. She looks prettier with dark hair, though. And people are just saying something happened to him. Go to her. It's her. It's her. It's her. Well, maybe if everyone... Okay, so she did do something. Let's not forget that. She did. And she drove back to California. She returned the car. The car did have some red stains in it, and the mats were missing.
They washed them out. Yeah. They couldn't say for sure if the mats were ever there, but we did know that they were missing.
Yep. And there were 2,800 miles. It was 2,800 miles on the car. So she didn't just take it around
Which
town.
in itself is pretty incriminating. But, it was bizarre because he'd missed a meeting, an important meeting, and people were already saying if something happened to him, it was Jodie.
It was sad, but it was true. But they were judging her. This is what these high and mighty religious groups do, is they judge other people because they have their own stuff in their past.
I mean, him and his buddies sound like a bunch of frat boys. I mean, they were about to go to Cancun.
Yeah.
I mean, what a shithole. I mean, that's not a place for the godly sorts. That's a place where you go to party and get laid.
That's true. And then you don't have, then three of them live in the house. So it was definitely like a frat house of some type. Um, then she went to California. Then everyone's looking for him. What really puzzles me is one of the roommates said that he went into the house and there was a weird smell. So why didn't you follow your nose like Toucan Sam and go up to where it was and knock on the door?
Yeah, maybe he smelt already. I don't. Yeah, I remember that because he didn't go check, did he? Which is fucking weird.
No, these people are stupid.
I wonder if the AC was on or anything, or if he was just there, just fucking stinking up the place.
He probably just stunk up the place. I mean, he was there like a stuck pig, bleeding out. She went about her business. Then a couple days later, they went and they brought her in.
Yeah.
To discuss the death of Travis Alexander.
And this is where it gets good.
Oh, yeah. She first said that there were two people that came into a house.
And they murdered him and they attacked her. And this was on the second day of the interrogation. On the first day, she said she hadn't even been there.
Exactly. I mean, there were so many different things going on, so many different stories. And they actually arrested her on her birthday.
Wow. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, babe. Yeah. They finally broke her. She starts crying. They want to take her in. Oh, and not to seem vain, but is it okay if I just clean myself up? No, we're taking you straight to jail.
Damn. Well, and I mean, and this is where.
Then they brought her to Arizona.
And this is where she gets into. She said that she was a victim of domestic violence.
I believe part of that was true. I believe I could see him hitting her. I was a victim. I don't call myself a victim or survivor of anything, but I experienced domestic violence a couple times in my life. One if it was over a cat, but I kept the cat.
That's terrible.
Yeah. She shows in court, a crooked finger. I believe he hit her. I do believe that. I know she definitely was a victim of emotional abuse, 100%. And there's even an email where Travis had emailed a friend of his.
This is Sky Hughes.
Stating that he admitted being a sociopath and he hoped Jodie doesn't get in the way of his, behavior. This is what they were saying on a show. I don't know. It was Chris Hughes. Sorry. Chris Hughes testified that Alexander had emailed her saying that Jodie might be his next victim and he was seeing multiple women.
Well, he exchanged emails and texts with both of the brothers like this. It was Chris and Sky Hughes.
This was definitely premeditated. Is she manipulative? No, she's just charming.
Well, this might be where, because prosecution initially told the defense attorneys that no text messages sent or received by Alexander were available. They weren't able to dig those up. So this might come into the fact that, and they later had to turn over several hundred such messages to the Mesa police. But this might come into the thing that this guy had some dubious correspondence.
Oh, he did. His friend Chris Sky, that's the last name, had mentioned that. And he was messaging other women. And is this the same prosecutor who was later brought up on sexual harassment charges and leaked a bunch of material about the trial to a blogger he was banging? Is that the same guy, Juan Martinez?
Bingo. It was Juan Martinez.
It is.
Sure.
It is.
I mean, that's fascinating. I hadn't heard of that.
Oh, yeah. No, he was disbarred. He was disbarred for sexual harassment. And yeah, he was having sex with a vlogger and was giving her information about the case. I mean, this should have been a mistrial, and it wasn't. There was a lot of social pressure and pressure from this guy's family to lock up the witch, lock up the devil. You can't give a mentally ill woman the death penalty.
Yeah. I mean, they certainly had it in for her. I mean, I know there are people who argue that women have it easy. And I'm not one who agrees with that totally, because I think sometimes you get a good-looking girl who's sexually aware of herself and she knows what she's got, and it seemed like they definitely had the knives out for her right from the beginning. I always thought, and I was always unsure of this of her, that we were getting the full story on it.
Well, there's another thing. Her lawyers filed for a mistrial on another basis, that the lead detective perjured himself, and that, there were a bunch of threats made to jurors and to the woman's advocate in the case, Elise Violette. They tried to get appeals on the case, but when you went through the whole case, you have Jodie's parents sitting there at the time the dad was alive, and you could tell that they were just very embarrassed. You're getting into the whole sexual history of their relationship, and this is very much a sexually based relationship they had with them.
I mean, if you see the pictures, for sure,
What, was her dressed as Pocahontas or as a schoolgirl?
I can't really remember those as much as the back shot, the pussy shot, the pussy in the ass shot, and then her laying like she's sleeping and stuff like that. I mean, it's been a while since, like I said, I did something 7 fuckable killers or something where she was one of them. So I had, of course, I had to do my research, and I think I did see the pocket, but there were I'm not sure, were they all at the same time or were they over a period of time, those images?
Over a period of time, but I tell you this, I'm sure that there's someone with that SD card. If they made prints, they'd make a killing off of them on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
I always see it as we've all been in relationships, we've all done things that we wouldn't do when we look back, whether that's sending nudes or doing whatever, or, and in some ways we do everything for love and then we regret it afterwards and we can't take it back. So it's so easy to say, oh, she's a slut, she's doing this and she's doing that. But I mean, it's like we do crazy things when we're in love, when we're infatuated with someone, especially when we're, young women. They do those things to please guys, and that's part of their what they do, and I just think it's wrong to demonize them for it.
Well, the jury came back deadlocked on this. They also found viruses on Travis's laptop. This trial cost like about $3 million.
Viruses is in what? He's like fucking downloading shit. Well, because she accused him of being a pedophile, didn't she?
He's downloading porn. Yeah, there was all kinds of porn on there. And yeah, because he had to dress up in the schoolgirl outfit. Yeah. So there was that, and there were all kinds of viruses, probably from downloading porn. A lot of these things were not brought into the trial.
Yeah, into the mainstream trial. Yeah.
They couldn't do it. The mainstream trial, exactly, not the real trial.
Well, they said there was 8,000 messages that prosecution refused to introduce from correspondence that Alexander had with her and other individuals. So why?
Because it would show emotional abuse. It would show motive for what I don't condone. Again, I don't agree with what she did, but it would show motive for why she possibly did this. This was definitely premeditated. So yeah, she should be in jail for that part of it. And there were all these messages, where Alexander said that he wanted to tie her up and sodomize her.
Yeah, I mean, I read that he wanted to tie her to a tree and fuck her up the ass and stuff. And I take all those things with a pinch of salt because you're a woman of the world. You have your sex talk with people, and there's the sex talk, and there's what you'd. Do you know what I mean? What you say in a sexual arousing, what you say to each other, and whatever is how much do you mean? So. You get what I'm saying here. I'm unsure that him saying he's going to tie her up against a tree and fuck her up the ass. I think him saying that she was his 3-hole wonder to his friends is disrespectful when you put it down that he's a 30-year-old man. I mean, if someone said that about my daughter, I will fucking cut their head off. I mean, that's how I.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Disrespectful. I mean, it's not saying, it's like not after you've just been intimate with someone, you're laying in bed and you say, baby, you're my 3-hole fucking wonder. That that's going to make a girl giggle and thank you. But to say it to guys outside of the relationship is beyond disrespectful for me, unless you're like a 15-year-old boy or something.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. I mean, hey, I tell guys I like to cut men and have sex with them in their own blood. Does it mean I've done it? Who knows? But
well, if you can get a plane ticket, I've got a first aid kit over here. But in all seriousness, Jasmin, I'm not defending this guy because I never liked this guy. I always thought he'd be creepy. I wasn't sure if it was the beady eyes or the fucking thin nose or the stupid lipless smile he was doing. He always struck me as a smart ass. which I don't like smart asses. And if anything, I've always been Team Jodie. I don't know if that makes me just your average guy.
No, you'd be one of a million guys sending her like, dick pics in jail and like, well, you wouldn't do that, but like sending nice letters, proposals, stuff like that. But there were just so many times that this case was eligible for mistrial. And this is another good example of someone that was tried by the media and not by the jury. It should have been moved out to a different district completely. And, they tell jurors, don't watch TV, don't do this. They're going to watch it anyway. They know what's going on, you know? But this whole, just the murder itself, the act of having sex with someone right before you kill them, that is a true crime of passion. And when you stab someone that many times, it's 27 times.
Fucking times.
It wasn't like once or twice, right? I would have done once or twice maybe, but 27.
I mean, the thing that fucked me up, I mean, I've always thought that maybe he fucked her and then he's like, hey, this is just a casual thing. We're just, friends with benefits. And then she just said, fuck you. I've fucking, I've given to this relationship and fuck you,
Well, he told her he was leaving for Cancun. That could have set her off. But don't forget, she went there with these things already.
Yeah, that's true. It's tough to say. And unless she's speaking. Now, she said that he attacked her and started beating her up because she broke his camera.
Yes.
And that was his camera. And it was new. And he went off the deep end and attacked her. And that in the end, it was just self-defense. But saying that, she did show up with a knife.
The gun.
But, I for one, I'm not convinced that she went to kill him. And, I mean, I do think she was villainized from the start.
Well, she was villainized because she was pretty and she was wild in bed. So, yes, she was extremely villainized.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing of gas, she never used the gas to burn the body. She never put the body in the car. So I think that's completely harmless. She just had a can of gas because she wanted to have it traveling that far by herself.
Why do you think she took those final pictures of him? Especially the one where he was dead in a fetal position laying at the bottom of the shower.
Trophy.
Weird. Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing on her part. I mean, I'm not saying she's the most sane person. I'm not saying she's evil either, but it's just one of those, I don't know. If I murdered someone, I think I'd take a photo of them too, just to have it.
Yeah. I wonder how good in bed she really was, and if he was good. Like I'm just wondering because sometimes the measurement of what's good. I mean, if you're already shit in bed and you fuck someone who goes beyond the missionary position, you think, oh, she was amazing. But then if you're fantastic in bed, you need someone to really Like I would need someone to really fucking spin my head. I mean, I would not be satisfied with just the normal stuff. But this guy looks like, I don't know. He seems like a frat boy to me. He just seems like a real fucking immature frat boy. And the fact he's like 30, he's talking like that, he's going to Cancun. You just wonder. And I just don't get the whole Mormon angle either. That confuses me.
No, I understand it completely. He's got total small dick energy. I understand the whole Mormon angle. It's to feel that you're not doing anything wrong. It's to feel that, you're holier than thou, and because you're with the Lord and one of the Lord, whatever they say, it's okay to do whatever you want. I mean, I've encountered people like this in my life. And if you really want to find out how great she is, why don't you just, arrange a conjugal visit? That's like a documentary in and
Well, I mean, that's not really my style, but it sounds like you're getting in there. You got some leeway there. And, I certainly think she's got enough male suitors, keyboard, romantics, sending her promises and kisses over the internet, and whatnot. But I would be fascinated to know her views on things or how she feels about everything now. Because we haven't really heard that. I mean, it'd just be interesting for her to open up. But the three-hold wonder, I'd wonder what she thinks of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's just one of many things he said to her, but to just go there, and stab him so many times, that's proving a point. He said something to anger her. She stabbed him as much as she could. And the gunshot, I feel as though she just reacted so much out of emotion. And people, at one point, it was brought up that she had maybe bipolar disorder. And that could make you do things sometimes you regret later. Sometimes it's too late. She just left. She left. She was scared. She went back to Eureka. I feel as though she knew how bad it is what she did, but she didn't know what the consequences would be and how she'd put her family through all of this. I don't have much sympathy for his family. I have zero sympathy for his family because they really took advantage. They just said such horrible things about her.
Well, were his family present at the trial? Did he have a relationship with his parents? Do you know
Oh,
that?
his sisters were there, or his sister. I don't know about the parents, but I just didn't like the sister. She looked like him. That's probably why.
So a real looker. Because I know that a physiotherapist and an expert who specializes in domestic abuse testified for Jodie and said that victims of a domestic abuse, and they don't tell anyone. I mean, so when they were trying to use that angle, she didn't tell anybody. They said they don't because they're ashamed, they're humiliated. So it wasn't unusual.
It's that, and the other side of that is you don't want to say anything because if you decide to work things out with this person and you're still with them, you don't want to say anything bad about them to people. And that's why a lot of the times they don't say anything. This is why I can't get down with this whole Me Too movement because 90% of those girls are not victims. They did whatever they did to crawl the corporate or the Hollywood ladder and buyer's remorse. But this is a real victim.
I was just about to say buyer's remorse. But the thing about this, the trial that really stands out for me is the testimony of Sky Hughes. Chris and Sky Hughes, his friends, how the prosecution would not, and the judge refused to let the emails between Travis and his friend be omitted into the courts, which is strange for me.
They're hiding a lot, and because of the way that judge, it was a female judge, by the way, that sentenced her, the way that she handled it was poor. And I think it's not a big town or a big city, Mesa. I'm sure someone knew someone who knew somebody else. And, they had all the social pressure to burn the witch at the stake from the family, from these good Mormons. And that's what happened to this poor girl.
Well, in the correspondence between Hughes and Travis that was released, or Sky Hughes and Chris Hughes, said that he believed that Travis, that Jodie was just another girl that Travis was playing with.
Of course he was.
That he was just fucking with her.
Yeah, and she'll become one of my victims. And if you look at the guy, he wasn't exactly a player type. He looked more like one of those losers at a nightclub getting the bottle service with the thing, dancing up and down on the tables with his bros. That's what he reminded me of. And, rest his soul, he shouldn't have died like that. And it's sad, but let's not forget that she's also a victim here.
He's the type who goes to Cancun and he plies an 18-year-old full of booze and ends up taking her back to his room and fucking her, and then she wakes up crying, regretting it.
He looks like that type. He did look like that. And I believe that there was pedophilia on there. She did accuse him of that, amongst other things. And this is, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And she's a human being. He's a human being. He shouldn't have lost his life like that. Maybe there would have been another way. Had he have lived, had she have not done this, maybe there would have been some other version of karma.
Well, every dog has his day.
But this wasn't it. And just murder itself, she did premeditate it. So yes, she should absolutely be in jail for that, which she is, but she's in there for life without the possibility of parole. They were seeking the death penalty at one point.
Well, after 25 years, she's going to be able to start asking for parole, isn't she?
They already have it. No parole. That's it. No chance of parole. They took the death penalty off because she's mentally ill.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking harsh. I mean, a trial that cost $3 million bucks, so they really went to town on her, and she had to pay $32,000. She had to pay $32,000 for her to his siblings. Oh, fucking weird.
But I mean,
where'd she get $32,000?
In jail. I mean, she's selling her artwork, but she offered to sell clothing and shirts with the word survivor on it and donate the proceeds to people who were domestic abuse victims. She also donated her hair like 3 or 4 times to Locks of Love, which she does have beautiful hair, by the way. And this was the price of being, he called her a dirty secret. This is the price he paid.
That's terrible. Where's she serving? Is she in Arizona?
Yeah, she's been let's see, it's now a medium security prison instead of maximum security level prison. It's medium. I hope she gets the mental health.
Yeah, the mental health that she deserves. I mean, she's obviously a very troubled woman still.
Well, I hope she does, and I hope they think twice about letting her out. Um, maybe she should not date uh if she ever gets out. But just the whole crime was just so nasty and just so gruesome, stabbing someone like that, then just leaving them in their pool of blood, stinking up the house. It's like a day later is when the roommates, a day or two later is when they went in there to find him.
Whoo, what's that smell? Boy, oh boy, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they're probably so in their own world. Oh, it's fine, it's fine. I mean, I wonder how many other girls, he had coming over there. Apparently, Jodie would go around the house stalking, like looking in the window, this and that. But I think that there was some I think he was into some kinky little games as well.
He's a fucking weirdo. Like I said, in every picture I've seen, every selfie picture, he always has that no-lipped, weird look on his face. There's the one of them under the waterfall, and he's got that same look, like no lips, just kind of doing that weird. There's just, I don't know what. I mean, you've said you've seen the stand-up comedian. Was he funny? I can't imagine being funny.
He looked stupid. It was an old VHS tape or whatever it was someone had on. And it was I forgot what show it was, but it showed him wearing like a black curly wig and a headband around it. He wasn't
Okay,
funny.
yeah, I mean, doesn't.
And he was specifically going towards women in the crowd, whatever little crowd there was. But I tell you, the second I hear the guy's a stand-up comedian, it's like, okay, yeah, don't talk to me.
Yeah, there we go. That's someone who needs attention. Okay, so you think there's more to this, and you don't think she's the bad bitch that the people are portraying her?
No, I think she had the potential to be just like a Lorena Bobbitt. And mind you, I'm friends with John Wayne Bobbitt.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
I feel as though that's like where she should have aimed
Yeah,
if she had to
yeah,
do anything,
yeah, something like
but
that.
not this.
Yeah, because he got into porn. Didn't he have a short porn career?
No pun intended.
Yeah.
I don't know about his privates. I just know about the text messages he sends me.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a nice person, but this whole murder, I think Jodie deserves another trial.
Yeah.
With all of the evidence in there. And I believe what she served, like she served 10 years already. Put her in for 5 more, then, maybe put her in a mental, like a halfway house. I don't think she has the capability to kill again like that.
I don't think she's in the Pamela Smart sort of category. I personally don't think she's going to kill again, but who could say? Do you think she'll get a retrial?
I hope they give her a retrial because I would actually, it would be worth flying out to Arizona to go to the trial. I would do that. I would probably even write a letter, even though she's a total stranger, but I can identify with the emotional abuse of this. I would probably write a letter to the judge for sentencing recommendations.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was going to mention this earlier, but with when we mentioned Carla Homolka, I remember when she was arrested with Paul Bernardo, and they did a survey. The newspaper, the Sun of Toronto Sun, did a survey, and they said 7 out of 10 men said they would still go into a relationship with Carla Homolka. This is a girl who went down on her own fucking sister who died. That they killed.
That was so creepy.
And him filming it and her going yuck as she's going down on her own sister. And 7 out of 10 men said they'd still get into a relationship with that. That sort of says how men are.
Trust me, I know. And, she gets a lot of fan mail from these Nimrods. And, it's the same with these women. Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. I mean, the groupies came out for him.
Yeah.
Left and right. And it's the same thing. She's very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
We all know she's a wildcat in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, there we go. Well, I mean, Jasmin, you brought it. And that's a fascinating case. And I think you covered it well. And keep us updated. I'm interested to find out if you guys become pen pals. I know you said, you sent her a card, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't send her just a letter. I sent her an Easter card.
Okay, well, maybe it'll be
handwritten.
Nice. Did you? But she doesn't know what you look like. You should have sent a picture.
Well, then she'll think I want her, and I'm strictly dickly. I'm into men. I would never.
Yeah,
That is
you
just
don't want to play that.
disgusting.
Okay.
We don't want to do that, but she might take it the wrong way. I've sent men my photos, like guys that are in prison. I've sent them my photos.
And they get back to you, no doubt.
I don't have any intent of marrying them.
Well, look
Yeah,
how
I
quick I
mean,
got back to you. I mean, you get you said any correspondence to a guy. We're at the core of it. We're men, so we're gonna fuck. If they don't get
oh,
back to you,
that's good to
they're
know.
enjoying prison. If they don't get back to you, they're enjoying prison. Let's put it that way. But keep us updated, because I'd like to know if you guys become pen pals, because that'd be a show in itself. And I think you brought it, and I'll look forward to seeing what you bring on the next episode of our new series, Lust Crime. And I want to thank you, Jasmine,
Thank you.
for taking the time to be here. And before I go, I'd like to depart this bit of wisdom upon our listeners, and that is, wherever you go, whatever you do, remember, there's always someone watching you. And this is DEADBUG. Until next time, saying adios. And I'm going to dedicate this next song to all the lovers.
Seemed like you were daydreaming, eyes fixed to the ceiling. Looked like you were laughing at me. I know you wouldn't laugh at me. You know I never thought you would die, but baby you did. Baby you did. The tobacco on your lips tastes like sweet nectar on mine. The dirt all in your hair, like a filthy halo meant to be there. Such a great circumstance, how it came to this, I don't understand. Baby, goodbye. Baby, goodbye. This is our last crime. This is our last crime. Please don't be upset. I promise I won't forget. And goddamn, I know that I'm going to hell, but it turns me on thinking about the smell. Baby, this is our farewell. This is our last crime.